And we're live. All right, I've got Lee here. Super excited and honored to have you as my first former Disney guest on the show here, and you've got a wide variety background in leadership. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do, your origin story?
Well, I started out my career way back in the old days and with Hilton Hotels. Worked for them for 8 years, and I joined Marriott Corporation. Worked with them for 17 years, and then Disney recruited me to go to France to open Disneyland Paris. And so we went there. We lived there 3 years, and then I came back to Orlando and was put in charge of all the operations at Walt Disney World. And that's kind of a miracle because I grew up kind of in a dysfunctional family. We grew up on a little farm. We didn't even have indoor plumbing. My mother was married 5 times, and I've been adopted twice. I got my name Cockerell when I was 16, but she made better choices. So she married a doctor. So he had money and I got to go to college, but I forgot to go to class. I had a good time for 2 years and then went in the Army. So that's kind of my life. Went in the Army. Probably should have done that earlier. I was a immature 18-year-old, didn't have a clue what I was doing, never been out of Oklahoma in my whole life, and ended up running Disney World 30 years later. So who knows? I always tell people, don't underestimate what you're going to do, because when you're 18, you don't have a clue what you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
Wow. Yeah. So that's it. I've been married for 51 years to Priscilla. And I know I'm doing better because she told me she's going to stay. So it's my major achievement of getting to be a better leader at home.
Yeah.
And so it's good. I got one son, he's 50. And I have 3 grandkids, 24, 21, and 18. And they're all doing great. And life is pretty good. Now I'm just out speaking, doing seminars, doing conferences, helping people kind of learn how they can create the same kind of customer service and as Disney does. Yeah.
Love that. 51 years of marriage. That's incredible.
I had to get the family average down,
Yeah, you completely transformed it.
Somebody's got to do it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And so here at Move Happy, we've got 3 pillars. And the number 1 pillar is about keeping a positive mindset. As I'm sure you're familiar in your industry and the experiences that you've had, it's hard to stay positive when the world is very negative. So in your experience, what are some strategies to keeping a positive mind for those that might be in a similar industry as your own?
Well, I think whether it's my industry or any industry or anything you do in life, I'm not so sure if you're not already positive, you're kind of wired that way, in my opinion. You either are or you aren't. And there's a lot of unhappy people in the world. I think maybe they're born that way. They stayed unhappy. But I found that Disney, we're very careful to make sure that we hire people with a good attitude. I mean, that's the one thing we look for first is attitude, that they can overcome obstacles, they can deal with uncertainty, all the things we have to do in life, and be professional. That's what, attitude. I'm not always happy, but I always act happy. And that's what professionals do. And so even if you're a person out there in business and you're kind of a negative person, that's not going to serve you well. It's going to hurt your career. It's going to hurt your marriage. It's going to hurt your relationship with other people, your kids. Nobody wants to be around people who are always complaining and going on about everything. So I would say if you can't be happy, at least act happy until you get happy and try to figure out why you're unhappy. A lot of the stuff has just happened to us when we were younger. We're insecure. Maybe somebody bullied us in school. We're an introvert. All those things happen to us. And then we grow up and we start to believe we can't achieve anything. It's poor me, my mother, my background, no college, all that stuff. And I just tell people over and over, never underestimate. I see it happen every day at Disney. People come in, they come from other countries, they don't speak a word of English, and 5 years later, they're one of our managers. And mainly what gets them there is persistence and great attitude. And so there's a lot of people out in the world that think the world's mistreating them, which is probably not, because the world really doesn't care. And so I would say you got to try to figure it out. A lot of people are in situations that make them unhappy. Wrong marriage, wrong relationship, health, who knows, all the kinds of things that happen to people. Or they stay in an environment that's unhealthy. They stay in a place where people are negative, and you get into trouble and do the wrong things. And so I tell people, be careful who you hang out with, and be careful what you say and do, and don't underestimate what you can achieve.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can achieve in the next 30, 40 years. Yeah.
Great tips. Thank you for that. Second pillar of Move Happy is about building strong communities. So what are some strategies that you can share with building strong community, whether it's in corporate America or, in your personal life?
Well, I can tell you, I learned that if you want to have a good organization, you better have your organization look like the community. People from everywhere, every background, languages, education level, color, sexual orientation, religion, all levels, because people want to work in a place that looks like them. And it's like travel. People like to travel to a place where they feel comfortable and where people treat them well. And I just, we really focus on that at Disney to make sure that everybody feels like they matter and they know they matter. A place where hopefully everybody wakes up no matter where they're from or what color they are and want to come to work because the way they're treated and respected and included and involved. And every organization can do that. You may not be able to change America and all the bigotry and racism going on in this country, but you can certainly change it in your family and your business. You don't have to worry about America. Worry about your home and worry about your business first. And just show respect to people. I've been to 44 countries now, and people all over the world are exactly the same. They're nice people. They love their children. They're trying to be safe. They're trying to give their kids a good education. It's no different. I don't care if it's China, India. Too many of us want to judge people by the country they come from or the government. Forget the government. They're all bad. It's the people are great. And it's just, we got to get over this nonsense. I tell people, I grew up in Oklahoma, pretty bigoted place and pretty racist when I was growing up in the 40s and 50s. And the reason I was a potential racist, but I left. I got out of town and went to New York City, Washington, LA. I got out of the village because I really believe that, sure, education is important, but maybe more important is exposure and experience and meeting other people, knowing other people, entertaining other people, enjoying being with other people. I mean, I don't ever think about those things anymore, except who are the people? Are they good? Are they nice? That's all. And so for all those people out there, I tell you, 50% of the stuff in your brain is not true. And 50% of what your parents taught you is not true either. So get out of the village, go find out what's going on in the world, and you'll be just fine. Then you will be a good person to lead a community no matter where you land, because you will appreciate and respect the community. So we get that way out of proportion, way out of perspective. And Will Rogers, from Oklahoma, he said, I never met a man I didn't like. And I feel kind of like that. I meet a lot of people that annoy me, but I don't really hate them. But you gotta get over it. And if you stay in a little place where it's bigoted and racist, that's how you'll end up, because we all adjust to survive. We become like the people we hang out with. And so I have strong feelings on that. And I have a French daughter-in-law. My grandkids have been all over the world. They don't care about anything except who are you, not what you do, what color you are, if you're gay or not. They could care less. And that's because they grew up in a family where they didn't hear those negative things.
Yeah.
So that's about it. You can change. You don't have to be a bigot your whole life.
Love it. Great tips on building community. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Third pillar of Move Happy is about movement. It started with a program I created in a psychiatric hospital, very, very low budget for my patients, and found out if they got discharged, they had $50 a month approximately for discretionary income. So if they got discharged, I didn't want them to have to pay for a gym membership, things like that. I wanted them to have some tools in their belt and whatnot. So what are some of your favorite either physical activities, sport, dance that don't cost a lot of money?
Well, certainly, I'm not into a lot of sports. I lived in France for 3 years, so I kind of got out of the football and baseball and all that stuff. I have a French daughter-in-law, so if there's a soccer game on, you better be sitting watching it, because when you're French and you have a French person in the family, you can't talk to them while a soccer game's going on. And there's a lot of fun with that. And we have a lot of friends from Brazil and Latin America and Mexico. And so that's a lot of fun to do. I do strength training twice a week. Mainly, it costs nothing to learn to do strength training. I do it because I want to make sure I build my bone density and don't fall and break a hip. I'm getting a little older now. And especially for women to think about that because of osteoporosis, it's deadly. I mean, it's really rough. And so I would suggest doing that. Exercise is certainly one of those things that it's probably the most important thing you do. My wife told me it was the most important thing for me. She said, Lee, take care of yourself so you can take care of us.
Yeah.
So, and then she said, after that, number 2, take care of your family. Number 3, take care of your business. And then if you have any time left over, you can help Kim Kardashian with her problems. But don't be wasting your time on nonsensical stuff unless you're taking care of yourself, your family, and your finances and business. And there's so many great places to go in America, just out for the day, to a mall and get an ice cream cone, or with the kids. Kids don't care where they go. They just like to go and run around. And I think being with family is probably one of the best things you can do. If you want to stay together, be together and do things together. And whether you go out for a little lunch or whether you have a picnic and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and go to the park or go to the playground, or because kids don't care.
Yeah.
They want to be with their family. They want to be with their parents. They may not say that, but that's what they want. And so I think there's so many free things to do, and a lot of concerts, a lot of things in the park and everywhere. I don't know what there is in Nashville, but I'm sure there are a lot of interesting things to do in the street, and get to know other people. And then they invite you over for dinner, and you'll have a dinner with a Brazilian, or you have a dinner with somebody from Russia, or get to know people from everywhere. It's fascinating. And there's a lot to do. And then when you're in doubt, you can play with your telephone. So there's many ways to do it if you look for them. Look in the paper every day. There's so many free things going on. And or you can go volunteer and help somebody. You'll even feel better when you come home. And like you did, going to help other people. There's no more satisfaction you get than helping other people when they call and say thank you. I mean, I didn't always know that. I always used to think it was money and title and all this. That's not it. I learned that since I retired, that just help. We need more teachers and less bosses. We need to help people more. And I like to do that now. So, because I'm insecure. I need to be loved. So when people said, why do you keep speaking? I said, because people clap and I need to be loved.
Validation.
We all need to be loved. And so I try to find things that when I play golf, nobody claps. So I quit doing that. And that's what I do. I help you. So if you appreciate being with me today, I'm happy.
Yes, absolutely. Great tips. Awesome. And what are you doing right now that Move Happy community can support you with? How can we help you?
Well, I'm spending a lot of, I've written 4 books on leadership management, customer service, time management. I have a blog, I have a podcast. It's called Creating Disney Magic. It's 15 minutes every Tuesday morning. It's out there. We just hit 2 million downloads on it and 250 episodes.
Woo!
They're little 15-minute lessons on everything from how to deal with depression, to how to raise your kids, to how to be a good leader at work, to how to get yourself organized. And 15 minutes seems about the total amount of time anybody can focus anymore. So we kept them short and sweet, creating Disney magic. And I'm working a lot in education and healthcare now, trying to help hospitals and medical facilities take better care of the patient. Those emotional things, not so much technical, but those emotional connections. And also education with colleges. My books are being used in a lot of colleges now as textbooks because they're pretty practical. Students today don't want to hear about theory anymore. They want reality. Tell me how to do it. Tell me what to do. Don't tell me about something that happened in 1949. And so I'm having a lot of fun with students. They're very energetic. They love it. They're smart. Maybe the smartest generation we've ever had is coming up right now. And so I get some energy out of that. So that's what I do. And I take my wife to lunch, and that's about it. And we travel a lot. We travel an awful lot. Yeah.
I love it. Excellent. And if they wanted to buy your books, what's the best way for them to find
Yeah.
that?
Well, you can go to my website, leecockerell.com. They're there. Or you can go to Amazon. Probably if you order it right now, they'll deliver it in 20 minutes. So, I mean, they don't mess around. But they're all on Amazon, and all 4 of them. And or you can just type into Amazon Books, Lee Cockerell, and my page will come up with all 4 books on there. And they're in audio, they're in download, and they're in hard copy, soft copy, whatever people want. Yeah.
Excellent. So everyone needs to order your books and follow your podcast.
There you go.
Excellent. Excellent. And then my last question, I always do a different question so that our audience can kind of get to know you on a personal level. And we didn't chat about this beforehand, so I'm just thinking about it just randomly. What is something that I didn't ask you that you would love to share with us?
I'm not so much sure. You didn't ask me, and I talk about it quite a bit because I went through it, and I think it's a good message for everybody out in the world. My wife almost died a few years ago, and I went through 2 years of anxiety and depression and had to get treated. I would never been depressed a day in my life. I was 65 when it happened. I thought it couldn't happen to me. And it really changed my mind about how much anxiety is going on in the world, how people are really suffering. It's prevalent. I'm guarantee you know somebody that's got anxiety or depression. Maybe you don't know it, or parents or kids in college. And I do a lot of work on that now. I travel all over the world working for the military, talking about this. I went to Baghdad during the war and did 13 seminars with the military on depression, anxiety, some of the things I did to overcome it. And it does get better, but when you're in the middle of it, you don't think it's ever going to get better. And then you make the mistake of going to Dr. Google. Dr. Google tells you it's not going to get better. So don't go to Dr. Google, go see a psychiatrist, get some medication. And I'm okay today, but it was tough. And don't underestimate yourself. Personal things can really take you down. Health, family, kids, parents, and to be aware of that. A lot of people know, but mostly men don't want to admit it, and they don't want to go for help. So they handle it with either abuse or sleeping too much or drinking or divorce and I will tell you, get some medication. That's probably a better route. And you can get better. You can get better. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because about 85% of my patients in the psychiatric hospitals, a live-in hospital, were men. So
I can tell you, I did everything. I saw a psychologist every Monday. I saw a psychiatrist every couple of weeks. I got on meds. I did acupuncture every Wednesday. I canceled all my work for a year so I could focus on getting better. I exercised at 4 o'clock every day. I did strength training. I cut out all caffeine, all alcohol, all sugar. I quit watching TV with the violence on TV. I mean, and I got better. But let me tell you, you go on day after day, you don't think you're going to get better, but it slowly starts to happen. But there's many things that aggravate it. And certainly people need professional help go get somebody who can help you. Don't try to solve it alone. You won't. And a large number of people can be helped with medication. And so there you go. I'm sane again.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'd love to have you back for a follow-up episode. Thank you.
I'm going to be in Nashville soon.
Awesome.
In October, I'm doing a program with Lipscomb University.
Perfect. Just down the road in Murfreesboro, right?
It's the first. I don't know. Is that where it is?
So, there's a
I don't know where it is. I just go to the airport and follow my GPS. So
hit me up. I'd love to meet you and shake your hand.
yeah, send me an email again, and I'll tell you the dates and when I'm coming out there.